Good morning and welcome to One News special coverage of the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. I'm Denise Tan.
And I'm Diego Castro. Join us as we bring you the biggest stories straight from the voting precincts this election day, October 30, 2023. The Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections is currently in full swing. Let's check in on the latest areas covered by our mobile journalists from One News and reporters from News 5 and the Philippine Star.
Let's begin with Julie Baiza reporting live from Barangay Rizal in Taguig City. Good morning, Julie. Siksi ka na ba sa loob ng eskwelahan kung nasan ka?
Good morning, Denise. Nandito nga tayo sa Barangay Rizal. Bahagi pa rin ito ng Embo Barangay. Nalipat nga sa Taguig City. Dito sa Barangay Rizal, more than 40,000 yung registered voters dito. Isa sa pinakamalaking population sa mga Embo Barangays. Dahil dyan, inaasahang marami at boboto. At kung nakikita ninyo dito sa likod ko, medyo marami nga at mainit yung panahon. Kaya yung roads dito sa tapatan ng eskwelahan, isinara na yung paligid para dire-diretso na yung mga botante. Kung mapapansin nyo, dahil sa init ng panahon, binibigyan ng space itong mga PWD at saka yung mga senior citizens natin para baka pahinga sila habang naghihintay na makaboto. Meron ding mga first aid responders na nasa harapan ng eskwelahan. May nakaantabay na 2 ambulansya para sa mga medical emergency. Kasi inaasahan nga na dahil sa init ng panahon at saka sa sisikan, baka posibleng merong mga mahilo or may mga ilangan ng immediate response. Kumpara dun sa pinuntahan natin kanina na Comembo at saka Pembo, mas marami tayong nakitang mga sample ballots na nagkalat dito. So far, wala naman yung mga nalilito sa polling precinct gaya sa ibang barangay. Ang hinahanap lang nila yung mga room assignments na bago nga sila ng polling precincts. Denise, Diego?
Julie, kanina nabanggit mo na madami yung inaasahan na dumagsa dyan. Ilan nga ba yung botante that the area is expecting, and so far 3 hours in the voting period, ilan na yung nakaboto?
40,000, more than 40,000 yung inaasahang boboto dito. Kanina yung bugso daw, as of last counting, around 10,000 na yung nakikita nila. Yung nakita nilang bumoto.
Alright, meron din ba mga kaso na mga election violations, yung mga pasimple na mga last minute nangangampanya?
Actually, yung police visibility dito ay masyadong maraming pulis na nakakalat sa paligid ng eskwelahan. Dito pa lang sa unit na ito, 14, yung PNP personnel mula pa rin yan sa Taguig, Makati, NCRPO, at saka sa Camp Crame, yung PNP headquarters. So medyo matindi yung police visibility, kaya hindi ganoong mabilis makalusot din yung mga simpleng abutan.
Julie, may mga issue pa ba dyan na kakalituhan with regards to, kasi kaninang umaga when the voting was beginning, ang daming issue about kung saan sila boboto. Medyo smoothened out na ba yung mga issue na ganito?
Dito sa Barangay Rizal, hanggang ngayon ang hinahanap pa rin nila yung mga room assignments. Kanina kasi, for example, sa Barangay Pembo, meron talagang hindi alam yung kanilang polling precinct. Dito hindi naman yun nangyayari. Alam naman nila yung polling precinct nila, pero dahil nagbago din yung room assignment. So, yun yung hinahanap nila. Pero Diego, we have to note na simula pa lang kahapon, nung nag-iikot na tayo dito, marami na rin yung mga nag-last minute ng paghahanap ng kanilang room assignment para nga maiwasan na yung maantala o maabala pa ngayong mismong araw ng eleksyon.
Well, thank you very much, Julie, for that update. Again, that was Julie Baiza reporting live from Taguig City. Maraming salamat ulit sa iyo.
Here are other election-related headlines we are keeping our eyes on. President Bongbong Marcos arrived early in Ilocos Norte to cast his vote in the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan polls. Upon arriving at the Mariano Marcos Memorial Elementary School in Batak, he went straight to Precinct 36A to cast his vote. After voting, the president granted a brief interview with the media where he emphasized the significance of barangay elections for politicians, especially in preparation for the midterm elections. The president acknowledged that because the barangay officials are closest to the voters, they often deliver on their promises of votes for candidates at the national level.
Pag sinabi ng mga barangay na magde-deliver ako sa iyo ng 350 votes dito sa aking barangay, asahan mo 350 yun, totoo yun. Kaya napakahalaga ng resulta nito para sa aming mga politiko, napakahalaga ang resulta ng barangay election.
The woman arrested for alleged vote buying in Navotas now faces charges for violating the Omnibus Election Code. Recall that the woman was caught red-handed handing out envelopes containing cash to registered voters at a warehouse in Navotas. Authorities confiscated over 300,000 pesos from the seized envelopes.
A gentle reminder for motorists, the number coding scheme is suspended today for the community polls. Coding will also be lifted for November 1 and 2. Traffic authorities advise motorists to plan their trips ahead due to anticipated heavy traffic. And voting has also begun at the new Bilibid prison for persons deprived of liberty or PDLs. Today's PDL voting, though, was delayed for an hour as the staff that will transport the ballots to the area are insufficient. This is the first time PDLs that are allowed to participate in the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections after the Supreme Court lifted the TRO against the COMELEC's move to allow them to vote in local and national polls. Some 880 PDLs or detainees are registered to vote for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections.
For those only heading out now, you may want to make sure everything's in order to avoid any hitches on your way to the polling place. So here are the do's and don'ts that you need to keep in mind as you vote in today's BSKE.
To ensure a smooth and orderly run of the polls, the COMELEC has issued a few guidelines for candidates and voters alike for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. The campaign period ends October 28, which means campaigning and posting campaign propaganda is no longer allowed until the day of the polls. The Commission on Elections also prohibits giving or accepting free transportation, food, drinks, or anything of value. The liquor ban also takes effect October 29 until Election Day on top of the gun ban, which will last until November 29. Voters will be given 6 hours to vote on the day of the polls from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Take note of which precinct or voting center you are assigned to. Voters can use the COMELEC's online Present Finder before heading out at presentfinder.comelec.gov.ph. Just input your full name, date of birth, and date of registration on the website to get your polling information. Persons with disabilities, senior citizens, and pregnant women are allowed to vote at the emergency accessible polling place, which should be open from 7 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon. Aside from knowing where to vote, the COMELEC also recommends making a list of candidates you're voting for to avoid erasures or unnecessary marks on the ballot. Remember to properly dispose of your list after casting your vote. Don't forget to use a ballot secrecy folder. Once finished, fold the ballot as you had received it and return it to the Electoral Board. Advises against taking pictures of your accomplished ballot. The COMELEC also cautions against showing your completed ballot to anyone else except from an assessor. Be careful not to erase any existing imprint on the ballot. Voters must also avoid tearing or destroying the ballot or removing the detachable coupon or stub. Voting for more than once or voting as substitute for someone else is also not allowed. The same goes for soliciting votes. It is crucial for both candidates and voters to be mindful of the COMELEC's protocol to make sure everything counts from the campaign trail to the polling place.
The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting has deployed over 250,000 volunteers nationwide to actively monitor the barangay and SK elections.
As the accredited citizens arm of the COMELEC, PPCRV says it is committed to ensuring fair elections. And to let us know how that's going, we have with us via Zoom PPCRV National Coordinator and Board of Trustees member Arwin Serrano. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much also, Double D, Dennis, and Diego.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. And we're about 3 hours now into today's elections. Now, how are things from the perspective of PPCRV volunteers so far?
Well, so far, so good. Ang problema lang natin so far ay yung mga last-minute na campaign through the use of sample ballots or mga leaflets bearing the name of candidates na pinagbabawal na since yesterday, especially today.
Sir, aside from that po, have you received any other irregularities in today's conduct of the polls so far?
So far, wala pa kaming nakikitang mga incidents of vote buying, but we're on the lookout for that. There are some areas that I visited, especially in Pasay, where the barangay set up tables for voters' assistance also. And then there are a lot of sample ballots and leaflets there. Then I told them that it's already illegal to campaign. So they immediately remove all the sample ballots and leaflets and other materials. But I told them that it's okay to help the voters in finding out their precinct, just like our own voters' assistances inside the voting center.
Sir, do you have enough volunteers in all regions? Are there any challenges that your team has encountered in getting volunteers?
There are a lot of imbalance. Like for example, in many areas here in NCR, we have so many volunteers. But in some provinces, we have just a few. So, but generally, we covered nationwide. Even in those areas, getting the red category.
Sir, have you had a chance to check in with your volunteers, especially dun po sa mga precincts natin that have those pilot testing automated BSK polls? And I know it's just been 3 hours and 3 barangays having those machines. Do you think we can implement this, yung automated barangay and SK elections, nationwide come 2025?
We're also hoping and praying that out of this pilot in 2 barangays in Dasma, Cavite, and also 1 barangay in Quezon City, we could have as many areas in 2025 election and even nationwide, no, for that matter.
And sir, President Bongbong Marcos earlier in an interview emphasized the importance of the barangay officials that will be voted. What can you say about this? That it makes it easier for them this upcoming midterm elections.
I'm a little bit worried and sad because of that statement coming from our president. And to think that barangay should be apolitical and it should be non-partisan and not to be participated by elected public officials. But the reality is that they even have their own barangay official candidates so that come 2025, they will serve as coordinator for their campaign and for the re-election bid. So the real emphasis should be that our barangay election is the most important election of all. Because I always tell our electorate that if they have problems, if they have some things that they want to suggest or they want to implement in their own barangay, they cannot go to Malacanang or to the capital or to the city hall for that matter. But our barangay officials can easily solve and easily address those issues, those concerns, and those things that needed improvement or that should be implemented in their barangay. That should be the main emphasis of the importance of our barangay election.
All right, thank you very much for your insights and your time. Again, that was Arwin Serrano, PPCRB National Director and Board of Trustees member.
At this point, we have the opportunity to check in on how the BSK polls are going in Caloocan. Mobile journalist Francis Orsio joins us live from Bagong Silang Elementary School. Magandang umaga sa iyo, Francis. Kamusta ang botohan? And so far, 3 hours in, smooth sailing naman ba?
Yes, Denise, so far maayos at mapayapa naman ang pagdadaos ng botohan dito nga sa Bagong Silang Elementary School sa Barangay 176, Caloocan City. So ayon din sa sinabi ng PNP Caloocan nang tanungin natin kanina, yun naging peaceful nga yung so far ito hanggang ngayong oras na ito. Wala rin ding naitatalang election-related incident mula kaninang alas 5.
Gano'n na ba karami ang nakaboto at this point in time? Kasi 3 hours in. So is it as expected?
Sa ngayon, Diego, nang tanungin natin yung mga nung magtanong tayo para dun sa datos kung ilan ay mga nakaboto sa ngayon ay wala pa tayong nakukuha, no? Pero tuloy-tuloy yung pagpasok ng mga botante mula pa kaninang alas 5:30 ng umaga.
Francis, ilan nga ba yung botanteng inaasahan na boboto dyan sa Bagong Silang Elementary School?
Kung sa buong barangay, Denise, nasa mahigit 90,000 ang rehistradong botante rito. Hahatiin kasi ito sa 7 public school sa barangay. So inaasahan natin na nasa mahigit 10,000 botante ang nakatalaga dito sa eskwelahang ito. Pero dagdag ko lang din na nagkakalituhan din sa mga paghahanap ng presinto o room assignment nila. May iba kasi na napadpad dito sa Bagong Silang Elementary School pero sa kabilang eskwelahan o ibang school pala sila naka-assign. Kasi nga dito pa lang sa vicinity na to ay may dalawang katabi na itong Bagong Silang Elementary School, which is itong Santo Niño Elementary School at Gabriela Silang Elementary School.
Yes, Francis, so far, with your you observing the situation there, what are the challenges na nakikita mo na i-encounter ng COMELEC na pinaka-common issues?
Mula kaninang umaga yung mga na-observe natin, ayun nga, no, yung mga botanteng nahihirapan maghanap ng kanilang room assignment o presinto. At saka yung mga senior citizens na may ilan kasi na naka-assign yung room nila sa 3rd floor. And yung mga PWD and senior citizen na naka-assign doon ay syempre hindi kakayanin makaakyat. Pero yun naman yung mga ilan sa na-address din agad ng paaralang ito. And yun nga, yung mga botanteng naka-assign dito sa school na nahihirapan silang hanapin yung room assignment nila ay nahanap din naman agad dahil nga dito sa covered court pa lang mismo ay may nakatayo ng voters assistance desk.
Thank you. That was Francis Orsio reporting from Caloocan. Well, 3 hours in. So far, the common issues that we are encountering is the finding of the where to vote. Yes.
That's why, again, we are reminding everybody, if you're still at home, still yet to go out and cast your votes, please go to the website. And we'll be showing that in just a few. Pero dun yung makikita, you're basically just gonna be putting in your full name, your date of birth, and several other details. Pero ganun kasimple, no? Kapag napasok mo na yung detalye mo dun sa website, you can go ahead and go to your precinct na, hindi ka na malilito.
Yes.
Oo, hindi ka na mawawala. And aside from yung precinct, yung iba also, yung ating vulnerable sector.
Yes.
Diba? Pero nagagawa naman daw ng paraan at yan ang importante.
Okay, and of course, just to recap, as PBBM said, the barangay and sanggunian officials that will be voted in are very important, especially for candidates like him for the midterm elections. It's turning out to be a controversial statement, as also said by the PPCRD themselves. Yes.
And again, the SK elections are important as the Sangguniang Kabataan is also considered as the embodiment of youth participation in nation building.
Yes, and what makes this year's polls unique is the fact that it's the first barangay and SK elections since 2018 after several postponements.
Ayan, and of course, while they don't hold posts as high as other elected officials, barangay councilors, and SK officials have a direct say in how our local communities are run. Kaya naman, dapat talaga vote wisely.
Yes, and as they said nga, the barangay captain and barangay officials are like the mini president in their area. They executive powers. They have also some sort of judicial powers within their area to settle small disputes.
Yes, and it's very important because it is what will affect our daily lives. Yung mga maliliit na bagay muna, di ba?
Yes,
Bago pa
correct.
mag-escalate, the chairmans, yung mga barangay natin, sila yung kumbaga mag-aayos muna noon in a smaller level.
Yeah, basic services, they troubleshoot that.
Yes.
People who need help, assistance, ayuda. You also have the barangay health centers that provide vaccines. And then, a few minutes before 9 a.m., Vice President Sara Duterte already cast her vote at the Daniel Aguinaldo National High School in Barangay Matina Crossing, Davao City.
She was also in and out of the polling precinct in 5 minutes, but took the time to take selfies with Davao residents who waited for her to finish voting so they could have photos taken with her.
Barangay 76 in Caloocan City is the smallest barangay with only 2 registered residents. Pero 210 ang registered voters.
Their barangay chairman and 7 councilors are not residents. Chairman resident of Malabon, while councilors live in barangay 72 and 78.
At karamihan raw sa mga residente ng Barangay 76 lumipat na ng tirahan matapos tayuan ng mga gusali at establishment ang halos 3 ektaryang lupa na sakop ng barangay.
All right, now the Interior Department clarifies that barangay and sangguniang kabataan officials do not have salaries and only receive honorariums. DILG Director for National Barangay Operations Office, Dennis Villaseñor, told Radio 5 that the average monthly allowances of barangay captains and councilors in the Philippines are 7,900 pesos and 5,900 pesos. These depend on the budgets of each barangay. Now, for example, barangay captains in the NCR receive 12,700 while councilors get 8,900 pesos per month, while their counterparts in provinces receive far less. Aside from the honorarium, there are village officials and workers enjoying additional benefits. Ano ito? This includes scholarships for their children, health insurance, and Christmas bonuses.
Ang pag-determine po ng honorarium ng ating mga barangay officials kasama yung ating SK ay depende sa budget ng bawat barangay. Kung kaya't magkakaiba talaga ang honorarium. Ang pinakasiling lang po na kondisyon ay dapat wag lalagpas sa 55% ng total budget mo yung iyong pampasweldo.
Let's get more election updates from mobile journalist Yeda Pascual, and will give us the latest from Parañaque. She's joining us live from the Parañaque Elementary School Central. Good morning, Yeda.
Good morning, Diego. Good morning, Denise.
Yeda, what's the latest there? Gano'n na karami ang nakaboto na?
Yes, Diego, dito tayo ngayon sa Parañaque Elementary School Central. Ang pinakamalaking polling precinct dito sa Barangay San Dionisio. So, Diego, so far wala pa tayong datos kung gaano karami yung botante dahil tuloy-tuloy yung pagpasok ng mga tao dito sa eskwelahan. Pero mahigit 10,000 yung voters dito.
Yeda, meron pa bang nakakwentuhan dyan na nahirapang bumoto o naka-experience ng mga aberya?
Yes, Denise, ayan nga, tulad ng problema ng ibang mga lungsod at ng mga nagdaang eleksyon, marami yung hindi alam yung kanilang presinto. Kaya ang siste, ayan, siksikan, nagkukumpulan, hinahanap yung kanilang mga pangalan. Kaya, Denise, napakalaking advantage talaga na alam yung presinto kasi tulad sa iba, naging mabilis lang daw at naging smooth yung kanilang pagboto. Pangalawang problema, may mga mangilan nila na hindi makita yung kanilang pangalan. Pero nasolusyon na naman agad yan ng ating mga PPCRP volunteers. So far, Denise, yun lang naman yung naging problema. Wala namang mga away o gulo na na-report.
3 p.m. matatapos ang voting, pero do you have any idea, Yeda, kung if ever maaga matapos makaboto ang mga voters dyan? Or do you think medyo matatagalan?
Yes, Diego, sa tingin natin medyo matatagalan. Kasi yung iba parang sumuko na, nag-give up dahil nga sobrang init, siksikan, at hindi nila mahanap yung kanilang presinto. Yung iba, ang sabi, naririnig nga natin dito na mamaya na lang, siguro after lunch na lang kapag humupa na yung dami ng tao dito, Diego.
Thank you. That was Yeda Pascual reporting live from Parañaque City. How will our votes be counted in this year's Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections? Let's find out in this report.
While the 2022 national elections were automated, this year's BSKE is mostly manual. This means that voters will write the names of their bets in the ballots provided. For barangay elections, that's 1 barangay chairman and 7 kagawads. While for Sangguniang Kabataan, it will be 1 SK chairman and 7 members. Registered voters can cast their votes from 7 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. After 3 o'clock, only those within 30 meters of the polling place will be allowed to vote. Here's how to vote upon entering the voting center. Go to the voter's assistance desk and get your precinct number and sequence number. The electoral board will then check if you haven't voted yet. Once your identity is verified, the ballots will be given. A barangay ballot will be given to those 31 years old and above, while SK ballots will be provided for those aged 15 to 18 years old. And both ballots will be given for those aged 18 to 30. You should then sign the election day computerized voters list. After this, it's voting time. Fill out the ballot, use the secrecy folder, do not take a photo of your ballot, and remember that erasures or any other marks are not allowed. After filling out the ballot, fold it and submit it to the electoral board. Do not detach the ballot coupon. Place your thumb mark in the designated space on the ballot coupon. The chairperson will then mark your right index fingernails with indelible ink. After that, watch as the chairperson removes the ballot coupon and places the ballot and the ballot coupon in their designated slots in the ballot box. And that's it. You've successfully voted in the 2023 BSK polls. Choose your leaders wisely.
We'll be back with more stories on the BSKE polls when we return.
Please stay with us. Welcome back to One News' special coverage of the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. Voters continue to trickle in at polling centers as election day pushes on. To give us a glimpse of the situation a little ways beyond the metro, we have mobile journalist King Senko reporting live from San Pedro, Laguna. King, kamusta dyan? Siksi ka na nga ba sa loob ng polling place kung nasan ka?
Denise, Diego, dito sa kinalalagyan natin ngayon sa Barangay San Antonio, in particular San Antonio Elementary School, orderly naman yung naobserbahan natin, no? Sa labas pa lang, merong mga registration area at nandun po yung map kung saan makikita o matatagpuan yung kanilang presinto. Kaya kung makikita nyo sa bandang likod ko, walang gaanong pila. Ang mga tao halos pagpasok dito, alam na kung saan yung kanilang pupuntahan. Wala rin tayong napabalita na hindi mahanap ang kanilang pangalan at may mga ilang timbre lang tayo na narinig dito na may mga abutan daw na nangyayari. Pero so far wala tayong nakita pa o naobserbahan pa ng aktual, no? Kung ating maobserbahan din sa labas pa lang ng school, very, very visible ang mga kapulisan at barangay mga tanod para sa seguridad ng mga bumuboto dito.
King, meron na bang kaso ng mga untoward incidents o kahit anong election-related issues so far sa lugar?
Kakatanong ko lang, Diego, bago tayo umere, no? In general, very peaceful ang nagaganap na BSKE 2023 dito. At Diego, mailagdag ko lang, no? Ilan sa mga naobserbahan natin sa labas ng school, ilan sa mga kababayan natin are taking the opportunity para makapagnegosyo sa araw na to dahil paglabas mo pa lang dito, sigurado di ka uuwing gutom. Marami kang mabibiling chicha. Ika nga.
King, kanina no, nakita ka namin nasa bus terminal ka. Kamusta naman yung naging biyahe mo papunta dyan sa Laguna?
Maluwag na maluwag, Denise. Very smooth ang biyahe namin papunta dito. Wala kami na-encounter na traffic. Puwera na lang dito sa mga bayan-bayan ng San Pedro kung saan may mga kalapit na polling precinct. Kasi syempre may mga sasakyan na nakapark. Kinakailangan ng tulong ng LGU sa pag-organize ng traffic para maging smooth din yung pagpasok sa mga inner roads ng kanilang syudad.
Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo, King. Again, that was mobile journalist King Senko reporting live from Laguna. The Bangsamoro Rapid Emergency Action on Disaster Incidents, or BARM-REDI, elevated the region's alert status from blue to red ahead of today's barangay and SK polls. To tell us what this means, we have with us via Zoom the head of the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Operations Center, Attorney Nagib Sinarimbo. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Magandang umaga. Good morning sa mga kababayan natin.
Sir, first off, no, what does a red alert status mean for BARM-REDI?
Pagka tinaas natin yung alert status natin into red, ibig sabihin mo niyan ay i-direct natin yung lahat ng mga DRRM officers from provinces to municipalities and cities na i-activate nila yung emergency operation center nila. At magpa-standby sila ng mga rescue teams sila. Sa ating region, pag naka-alert red tayo, yung buong team natin ay mag-24/7 yun. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng rescue team, lahat ng monitoring teams natin ay activated yun kaagad.
Yes, good morning, sir. Si Diego po ito. Have there been any election-related emergencies so far in the region po that your office needed to respond to?
May mga, simula kagabi, may mga panakanakang crisis na. Halimbawa, yung national road connecting yung Datobla, Sinsuat at saka Datuudin, Sinsuat papuntang Cotabato City, may mga nagtambak ng lupa doon sa highway para hindi matraverse. So kahapon kagabi din ay kinoordinate natin sa 6th Infantry Division at saka yung Ministry of Public Works and Highways at saka yung karating na bayan nila, yung Natobla, para i-remove yung mga earth fill na yon na nilagay sa highway para maging passable yung road. This morning, nagkaroon din ng commotion dito sa isang barangay sa Datuudin, Sinsuat Dito sa may Bugawas, nagkaroon ng violent incident yan kung saan 2 ang namatay and then meron 5 na injured.
Sir, pag may ganyang mga cases of violence or, election related incidents, especially there in your region, how can our residents get in touch with your rescue team?
Meron hong hotline number na nakapublish sa website at saka sa mga social media accounts natin. Plus yung mga munisipyo at saka mga barangay, may link sila doon sa amin. So pwede nilang tawagan kaagad yung operation center para kung kailangan nila ng ambulance, kailangan nila ng mga ibang equipments, halimbawa mga kuryente na bumagsak sa kalsada o kung ano pa man, may mga specialized equipments tayo na pwedeng mag-address noon.
How about for poll-related irregularities? How can the voters reach po your election center?
Meron ding hotline number yung election monitoring unit namin. Pagka may mga pinapadala sa amin na gano'n, nililink namin sa Commission on Elections at saka yung Philippine National Police, pati yung ibang partners natin from the security sector para ma-address yun.
Sir, any last-minute reminders for the residents of the region who have yet to cast their votes?
Opo, ang panawagan ho natin ay mag-agang pumunta sa mga polling places yung mga kababayan natin kasi magsasara ho yan ng 3 p.m. Given yung haba ng pila, baka mag-take time, so mas mabuti maaga silang pumunta. And then, medyo stricto yung setup ng security sector natin. So, maging disiplinado lang ho doon sa paglinya para ho hindi nagkakaroon ng commotion, para tuloy-tuloy lang ho yung boto.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. Again, that was Barm Ready Head Attorney Nagib Sinarimbo. The Commission on Elections has added more places of grave concern following recent incidents of violence throughout the country. As of October 29, 365 are under the red category. Areas are classified as red if there are occurrences of election-related incidents such as security threats originating from terrorist or partisan armed groups employed by candidates, or if the area has been declared under Comelec control. Most of these are located in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM. But the poll body said sufficient police personnel have been deployed to these areas. Meanwhile, as of October 20, a total of 1,271 areas fall under the orange category or places with armed and rebel groups. Nearly 1,200 areas are under the yellow category or those that have history of election-related violence. The number of green hotspots, on the other hand, stand at 39,170, meaning there is no cause of concern in these areas.
Their part, over 800,000 personnel from 5 government agencies will be dedicated for Comelec duty nationwide. This figure, more than 117,000, will come from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. 187,000 will come from the Philippine National Police. Education Department will also deploy nearly 500,000. Now, the Philippine Coast Guard will send out over 30,000.
So ayan habang nag-ongoing pa nga yung election, at least we are still getting updates. Everything is smooth sailing. Pwera dun sa mga hindi pa rin makahanap muna ng mga...
so far those are the only minor glitches.
Tsaka yung actually, isa sa mga binabantayan lang din naman natin is of course the health of everyone, yung mga nabibilad sa araw.
Yes, oo.
And hopefully, magtuloy-tuloy. We are about 3.5 hours in. So hopefully the last 3 hours is smooth sailing as
Meanwhile,
well.
Denise, let's get some updates on the conduct of the BSKE and other election hotspots in the country. Early voters lined up in Barangay Daro, Negros Oriental for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. At 7 in the morning, senior citizens, PWDs, and poll watchers were the first to cast their votes. An issue arose with one ballot box because a voter couldn't insert their ballot properly due to creases and rust on the box. Another issue for voters was the long line for the online registration to get their precinct and sequence number. Voters also complained about the slow pace of the elections. After voting, the ballots will be brought straight to the command center at the police provincial office to ensure their safety. COMELEC hopes to finish the count and declare the winners today. The COMELEC says that the fires that sparked at 2 schools in Maguindanao del Norte, which were eyed as voting centers, were cases of arson. Fortunately, neither the school in the town of Datu Odin, Sinsuat, nor the one in Bara had been assigned to be polling centers. The COMELEC also assures that no election paraphernalia had been damaged in the fires and that voting will carry on in both towns.
How will our votes be counted in this year's Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections? Let's find out in this report. Mamaya babalikan natin
Yes.
yung kung ano yung kailangan nating makita. But again,
As the day goes on, you see different issues are arising. But maganda dyan, Denise, kasi very minor. No reports of violence so far. I mean, so far.
And that is what we hope to see
Yes,
throughout the day. It's 3.5 hours in, 3 oras na lang. I remember hanggang 3 p.m. lang.
Yes, hanggang 3 p.m.
Ang ating botohan. Pero simpleng-simple lang. At this point, pupunta muna tayo. We have mobile journalist Evan Tarinque reporting. Evan, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Denise. Good morning, Denise. Good morning, Diego. As of now, nandito tayo ngayon sa isang mall sa Pasig kung saan merong kaganapan na voting. First time in the Philippines na nagkaroon ng voting sa loob ng mall.
Evan, yung mga nandyan sa loob ng mall, sang barangay galing yan? At ilan ang expected voters to be there?
Denise, from the record, lahat ng mga boboto dito is galing from Barangay de la Paz dito sa Pasig. And from what we were told is around 461 voters yung mga inaasahang darating ngayon. Kaya kung titingnan nyo, kung may usog natin tong camera, kukonti lang yung mga bilang ng taong nandito compared doon sa mga original na polling centers sa mga eskwelahan.
Evan, yung mga botante dyan, meron ka bang nakausap about voting inside the mall and how does that compare to the regular precincts?
Yes, Denise, may nakausap tayo kanina, isa rin siyang botante. And na-compare niya nga yung difference ng pagboto sa loob ng mall and yung pagboto sa labas. Sabi niya mas gusto daw niyang bumoto dito sa loob ng mall dahil nga malamig at hindi siksikan. Hindi katulad doon sa mga voting precincts sa labas, talagang dikdikan ng laban. Dagdag niya mas confident daw sila na hindi magkakadayaan dito sa loob dahil kung makikita nyo, ang tataas ng voting booth na gawa sa cardboard. Next naman is, ang sabi niya, feeling din daw nila mas safe daw sila bumoto dito sa loob ng mall dahil may mga security guard na nakabantay at nakapaligid dito sa voting stations.
Yes, linawin ko lang ilang precincts pala ang available sa mall?
Diego, meron tayo ngayong 1 cluster dito sa loob ng mall at merong 3 precincts. Yun ang 0599A, 0600A at 0600B.
Well, okay. Thank you, Evan, reporting to us live. Maraming salamat sa'yo.
Okay, how will our votes be counted in this year's Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections? Let's find out in this report.
Voting for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections ends at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on October 30. After that comes the crucial process of counting the votes. 3 barangays will conduct automated elections for the first time. These are Barangay Pasong Tamo in Quezon City and Barangays Paliparan 3 and Zone 3 in Dasmariñas, Cavite. Meanwhile, the rest of the country will conduct manual elections. Before the actual counting, the Board of Election Inspectors will conduct an initial check of the ballots without unfolding them. This is to ensure that there are no duplicate ballots and that the number of voters match the number of ballots. Afterwards, the ballots will be opened and grouped into piles of 100. The chairman will then read the names of candidates and the position they were voted for, marking each counted ballot. These votes will be tallied and recorded in the returns. When only a first name or last name is written on the ballot, it will still be counted as long as there are no other candidates with the same name. However, if there are candidates with the same first or last name and one of them is an incumbent, the vote will go to the incumbent. A ballot with 2 or more last names of different candidates is considered invalid unless one of the surnames is the name of an incumbent. In that case, the vote counts for the incumbent. Ballots with nicknames or terms of affection are valid if accompanied by the candidate's first name or surname. Ballots that contain only initials or don't sufficiently identify the candidate are considered stray votes, but this doesn't invalidate the entire ballot. Likewise, votes for disqualified candidates are also considered stray votes, and just the same, this does not invalidate the ballot. However, any ballot that clearly appears to have been filled out by 2 different persons is totally null and void. In case of discrepancies between the tally and election returns, a recount will be conducted. All counted ballots are placed in an envelope, sealed, and stored in the compartment of valid ballots. Election inspectors must prepare 6 copies of the return, which will be given to the City or Municipal Board of Canvassers, the election registrar, and the COMELEC. Once the election returns are completed, the chairman of the election inspectors will publicly announce the total votes each candidate received in the polling place. They will also issue certificates of the number of votes received by the candidates. Despite the manual conduct of this year's BSK elections in most localities, COMELEC Chairman George Garcia is optimistic that it won't take long before the winners are proclaimed.
Pag automated, mga bandang 6 o'clock, may proclamation na po doon. Wala po itong transmission ng results sapagkat wala naman po itatransmit ng result electronically. Ang mangyayari po, pagkatapos ang pagbilang yung po SD cards ng mga makina ay dadalhin po doon kung saan ang canvassing area. Manual uploading po ang tawag doon. Sasama-samahin ng mga boto at yun ang mag-print at magiging basihan. Samantala, pag po manual election, baka po abutin tayo ng 9 hanggang 10 o'clock yung mismong proklamasyon.
Mobile journalist Francis Orsio, We Are One News.
Checking in again with one of the 3 barangays that are now conducting automated voting. We have with us mobile journalist Kyla Macantan to give us more updates live from Barangay Pasong Tamo in Quezon City. Kyla, mabilis ba ang botohan dahil automated na dyan?
Denise, tama ka. Kanina nga nakausap natin, kaninang umaga yung mga naunang bumoto at smooth, ganito nila inilarawan yung kanilang pagboto dahil sa mabilis na proseso. So far sa mga oras na ito, wala pang naitatalang aberya o problema kaugnay dito sa bagong system, sa automated system na pinapalaganap dito sa pagboto sa Judge Lorenzo Belmonte Senior High School. Pero kanina, binisita natin doon sa Tandang Sora Elementary School. Doon naman ay manual ang kanilang voting pero dagsa ang tao sa labas o loob man. So yung mga iba hindi na tumuloy sa pagboto dahil nga sobrang kapal pa ng tao. Siguro daw babalik na lang mamayang hapon. Pero sabi naman ng COMELEC na personnel na ating nakausap kanina, if ever man na magkaroon daw ng aberya, naka-standby sila para tumulong. Ang isa sa mga naging problema dito sa mga naiputan nating eskwelahan ngayong araw, yun daw ang nahihirapan yung mga senior citizens at PWDs dahil una man daw sila sa pila, kinakailangan nilang akyatin yung 5 palapag para makapunta doon sa kanilang presinto. Pero meron tayong eskwelahan na napuntahan kanina na sabi naman nila, meron silang special rooms at wheelchair na nakahanda. So sa ngayon, sa pagdating sa pagboto, wala pang nagiging aberya dito sa mga naikutan nating barangay dito sa Quezon City, sa Pasong Tamo at sa Tandang Sora. At inaantay lang muna natin yung from COMELEC na magbigay pa sila ng pahayag kaugnay po doon sa mga naunang concern. Denise?
Kyla, quickly lang, no? Nung sinabi mong nagawa ng paraan, yung para sa mga precincts na yung mga areas kung saan boboto yung ating mga PWD, mga senior citizens, what exactly did they do to help those people in the vulnerable sector?
Denise, kagaya doon kanina sa Tandang Sora Elementary School, doon pa lang sa gate ay nakahanda na yung kanilang wheelchair na ipapahiram kung PWD yung botante o yung may kailangan. Pagkatapos yung kanilang tinatawag na special room ay malapit lang mismo doon sa entrance ng school. Kaya hindi na mahihirapan kung senior citizen or PWD man yung botante. Denise?
Well, thank you so much for those updates. That was mobile journalist Kyla Macantan reporting live from Quezon City. And now let's check in. One of the areas placed by the COMELEC under red category, Elaine Fulgencio, joins us live from Bangued, Abra. Elaine, how's the situation there?
Hi, Denise. Voters have started to flock here at Abra High School in Bangued to cast their votes for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin is also expected to cast his vote here today. As early as 5 a.m., election paraphernalia, including official ballots, arrived here. Polling precincts opened at exactly 7 a.m. and voters began to cast their votes. Tighter security measures have been observed. There were PNP and K9 units roaming around the polling centers to ensure the safety of everyone. Additional 384 PNP personnel were deployed in the province of Abra. COMELEC Abra says there are 185,000 regular voters in the province, while 67,000 voters are expected to vote for the Sangguniang Kabataan. Denise, the PNP is currently validating an incident of gun firing or warning shot in Tineg, Abra. And we'll get more details about that. But the PNP assure that the PNP personnel is enough for them to provide assistance, especially if the electoral board members are afraid to go on with their duties. And the COMELEC Provincial of Abra says that there will be 2 or 3 special electoral board members who will be conducting the election there in Tineg as the investigation is still ongoing. Denise?
Again, that was Elaine Fulgencio reporting live from Bangued, Abra.
Some candidates took their campaigning to the next level for this year's BSK elections. Let's take a look back on that in this report.
The 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections took years in the making, and being the first nationwide local elections under the term of President Bongbong Marcos. The October 30 polls proved to be a grand affair for the smallest unit of Philippine government. The barangay elections were first held in the country on May 17, 1982, following the enactment of the Barangay Election Act of 1982. The Sangguniang Kabataan elections, on the other hand, made its debut in 1992 after the passage of the Local Government Code in 1991. So what's at stake in this year's local elections? Well, tens of thousands of barangay positions, 42,000 for barangay and SK chairman, and over 290,000 for Sangguniang Barangay and Kabataan members. Elected officials would serve for only 2 years until December 25. These are the people that would be in charge of matters in your neighborhood, from overseeing proper waste collection to security and health services. For this year, thousands of candidates are also running unopposed. But does this ensure a victory? The COMELEC says no. A candidate still needs a plurality of votes or at least one vote in order to win. It's no wonder why many take campaigning seriously and resort to all kinds of novelty. Take this gimmick in Cavite for one, where sports cars were used for campaigning. Another viral moment involves a catchy jingle used to promote a barangay chairman candidate in Nueva Ecija. Jose Pepe Pacheco, who is running for chairman of Barangay Bukot, took down his iconic jingle adapted from the Voltes 5 theme song after the COMELEC flagged it for the double meaning in the lyrics. It's not just candidates that are busy these days. Even regular social media users are having fun making their own campaign materials. Netizens have started posting their own barangay and SK posters, complete with one-of-a-kind slogans. Creativity surely isn't lost this barangay and SK elections. But like any other national poll, it's important to vote wisely and leave the comedy out of voting precincts. Mobile Journal Yeda Pascual, we are One News.
Now, Denise, we'd like to remind everyone, until 3 p.m. lang ang voting. And we'd like to tell everyone na hindi pa nakakaboto, take this opportunity right now kasi wala rin naman traffic.
Exactly. Diba? And you do still have about 4 hours to make your way to your precincts. At paalala lang din na if you do not know your precinct number yet, pwede po yan natin i-check online. Actually, ang dali na nga ngayon because the website, we have the precinctfinder.comelec.gov.ph. All they have to do, Diego, is go there, pasok lang nila yung mga detalye
Yes.
nila, their personal details, simpleng-simple, click that search button, lalabas
Tsaka
na.
real time, mabilis naman ang response. Mabilis ang response.
Pagpunta nyo po dun sa kung saan area man kayo boboto, madali na lang, diretso na kayo kung sang kwarto.
Yes, oo. You know what makes this election special, no? Yung mananalo will only have 2 years. As previous na dati 3 years kasi ang term. Kasi if you remember, President Bongbong Marcos last year signed that order na na-delay bigla ang election na na-move from December of 2022 to this October in 2023. And although the Supreme Court ruled it as unconstitutional, they allowed this to happen muna. So the next one, Denise, I think will be on 2025. 2025, yes.
And alam mo, kahit na bago siya from 3 years to 2 years, it is still a long time. 2 years is a long time.
It is
an opportunity to still start with the right projects, right programs for your community. Again, at the barangay level, in your community. Kaya po, ang paalala, vote wisely. At again, hanggang 3 p.m. lang po yan. Kaya kilos-kilos na.
Yes, hanggang 3 p.m. And remember, kasi kung hindi ka makaboto ngayon and you don't vote again on the next elections, you have disenfranchised ka. You have to register again. So reminder lang, there is no traffic. Go to your precincts right now. If you don't know where your precincts are, check it on your phone. As Denise was saying, paulit-ulit, nasa phone lang yan, precinct finder. And it's been great covering this with you, Denise.
Oh, the same. Yes.
And we wish everyone good luck today. And those are the biggest stories of the hour and on the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections.
Join us again at 12 noon on One Balita Pilipinas Tanghali, hosted by Cheryl Cosim. I'm Denise Tan.
And I'm Diego Castro. One News Now will return at 2:30 p.m. for afternoon coverage of the BSKE, which will be hosted by One News Chief Correspondent and Lingao and Business Editor Regina Lay. We are One News, all sides, all the time.